Hello, my fellow grounder pounders. I am joined here today by my beautiful girlfriend,
Hello.
and we're going to be looking at Valkyria Chronicles. And really, there's nothing to say about this game because it's so great. Because mostly what we're going to be talking about is it's going to be a very low-key, not even a review, like a spoiler-filled, I mean, bashing of Men in Black International. You
Is it a
know,
fashion?
yes, in my
Or
mind. Because guess what?
what?
Remember that actress? And so there's no chemistry between the female and male lead.
No, none at all.
There's, I mean, I didn't see it at all. However, I read an article in Variety last night because I kind of wanted to get a feel for what other people would think of about this movie before we do it. Because, we don't really talk about this stuff a lot.
Right.
So I thought, okay, just so that we don't seem completely ignorant, let me just do a little research. So I just read one article randomly, and this guy, it just made me think how corrupt all the Hollywood stuff is. Because I just felt like this guy was paid by these people to do a fluff piece.
Hmm.
Um, and apparently I found out that the female and male lead, this is their second movie together. They
Really?
actually they actually did a movie together for the Marvel universe, Thor Ragnarok. She was apparently in that, and I'm
Oh.
like, I think they had a chemistry because the guy in the article said something about that carrying over, and I think that may be the difference of why we didn't buy their chemistry and why we thought they were so
Oh.
gross was because somebody else was watching a better movie years ago and thought, oh, they still like each other.
Well, yeah, I know, but okay, so even if that was true, there was no chemistry
Yeah,
in
that's
this.
the thing, though.
So even if there was history, it didn't come through to this. I
I
mean,
completely agree with you. There needs to be chemistry and quality in the movie you're currently watching, you know?
right.
I'm titling this the terrible sequel to the amazing movie we never got because I think that's really a perfect review of this.
Hmm.
Um, I had a lot of fun with it. I am so grateful that we went. Thank you so much. It was a wonderful treat and a surprise.
Hmm.
I'm not bashing that in any way. I love the movies. It was still a really fun
It
experience,
was.
but they blatantly stole the villain too. So let's just go let's just go through a play-by-play of this film. The first thing that happens The first thing that happens in this film is it's revealed, for me at least, that Liam Neeson is in this film
Mm.
and that he's like the Tommy Lee character and Chris Hemsworth is the male, cocky Will Smith character. And I'm like, okay, let's see where this goes. And I was actually super on board when it started. It was just the right amount of creepy and campy.
Yeah, I agree.
And I was like, wow, this might be phenomenal. And my hopes were raised quite exponentially in the first minute or two. Um, I, it starts out in Paris. It's really cool. It's foggy. It's creepy. They've got their little. They're going up. They're talking about the hive. Everything seems really
Yeah.
fun and interesting. And and then it kind of fades to black when something else happens. And and then we're greeted to our female lead who 20 years earlier, you know, saw an alien and her parents, which is just so ridiculous because they're in the streets of Brooklyn and they neuralize these two parents.
Hmm.
There's lots of inconsistencies in this story. So just, I get it. I was supposed to turn my brain off. I forgot. I'm sorry. And you know, I almost think that's what you should do for a lot of these films. Because I don't know about the quality lately. Because I haven't seen anything. I hated Dunkirk, which was the last film by Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan. You know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't like Interstellar. I actually would love to watch that with you or like do a review or something on it because Matthew McConaughey could be portrayed as the bad guy in that film if I just paused it and went, think about what he's doing. Don't think about his pretty face. Don't think about how smooth and charismatic he is. Think about what the character is doing, and you're like, whoa, that is actually kind of villainous.
Mm.
You know, in another movie, he would have been the big bad guy. But anyway, so we're introduced to the female lead. She doesn't get neuralized because she closes her eyes. Flawless. Flawless writing. Um, she saves a creepy alien that one day will grow up to be violent and despicable, or whatever the Men in Black people say.
Mm.
But she saves it. I'm sure that won't come in handy later. And then we kind of fast forward to her interviewing for the FBI and the CIA, and she's trying to get into this program she's thought about since she was a kid. Now, I liked that idea initially. I was fine with it.
I do too. I think I wished she was a little more kind of badass instead
I
of
agree.
like silly like I want to join. It's just I don't know. I didn't really buy it, you know.
Well, here's the thing. I was totally on board with checking the unchecked checkbox and so quirky like that. You know, I was
Yeah.
fine with that. However, they looked at her like she was crazy, and nothing came from any of that, which I thought was dumb.
Mm.
The 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 plan that worked, which I don't think should have worked, was she tracks an anomaly somehow.
Yes, somehow. I was trying to figure out how is that possible.
Well, she has a satellite dish on her New York roof or New York window. So that must be why, because I'm sure there's no interference with tall buildings or anything like that. Um,
And she does it at work too.
she does it at work. She, oh man, you know, she does it at work. She goes home. She finds it. She gets a taxi, and her $1 million plan is to simply follow the people after the Men in Black stuff people do their stuff. She just follows them back to their headquarters. It's that easy apparently. Except the Men in Black people aren't worried because they think they can just neuralize her afterwards, which you know I don't think a mysterious corporation's first thing should be, oh, we'll just clean it up later. There should be preventative things. It kind of seems silly. So then she walks into the familiar place, except they didn't have the budget to recreate the actual one from the first one, which was kind of annoying because you're Hollywood, do some magic,
Right.
or don't show it at all. Um, so out comes, so she walks into this place. She uses the lingo that she just overheard from the Men in Black people, and they know she's lying, but the guy lets her in. She goes down, she's not recognized, she goes into a lockdown and a quarantine, and they demand to know, they kind of capture her and interrogate her, and they demand to know why she figured. And it's just jokey, and it's just dumb, and she's like, oh, 'cause I found you. And they accept her because she was mildly clever. But, I mean, you're trying to tell me this character is a genius, and her plan was to wear a black suit and walk into a building.
Mm.
That was her fake plan, was to wear a black
Right.
suit. That would be enough to get her in. And I'm supposed to believe she has an IQ that's higher than a 5-year-old.
Mm.
So I was a little bit like, this is dumb. This is very dumb. And then, we kind of get introduced to Chris Hemsworth. Of course, she gets accepted because they can't deny somebody that was so brilliant enough to track them down and find them. Because I guess nobody walks into buildings that they don't know in New York that don't have security. You know. So she gets completely fine. And then we're introduced again to Chris Hemsworth. Apparently, it's been 3 years since Chris Hemsworth saved the world. Was it 2 years or 3 years? Doesn't matter. It's been years.
Yeah,
Okay?
I don't know.
It's been years since Chris Hemsworth saved the world, and he's been doing nothing but partying since then. And if we had met this character in a previous movie, that would have had a huge impact on me.
Mm.
But having just met this character now, I thought he was a gigantic douchebag. I felt like I was watching a guy from Jersey Shore in Men in Black. Just a pretty face, nothing going on, pretty dumb. And you can't tell me somebody's an expert just by telling me over and over they're an expert. You've got to show me how he's an expert.
Right.
And that's one of the things that really frustrated me. There was never anytime he was given the opportunity to show how smart he was, he kind of was like, what? Like the new rookie comes in and she tries to secure her position because now she's on a probationary period. And she tries to, which doesn't make sense with her character. There's so many inconsistencies because she's portrayed as a goody two shoes.
Yeah.
Like a real straight arrow. And as soon as she gets accepted into her dream, she kind of cheats and lies and kind of just, I mean, you don't cheat and lie and steal your way kind of to promote yourself. That's not how things would work with your dream job, you know? They could have just done a montage of her working there for a few years or something. Anyway, so she lies. But what was weird was when she's accepted, she gets a percentile score of like alien languages and tests she's taken, and she's all in the 97s and stuff. However, when she talks to Chris Hemsworth, she says, I speak this alien's race, because Chris Hemsworth has a big job, and he's supposed to be lovable and likable solely because he's good looking. There's no character. It's like reverse sexualization of women. Like 20 years ago or something, you would have seen the hot agent, hot female agent. Now it's quote unquote progress because we're seeing the objectified hot male agent, which does not make a good story. I wish we could forego all of the sexualization stuff and just insert it with real characters with real motivations whom I like. So of course he has a very secret, fancy job, a really high class mission, and the other guys are jealous, and we're supposed to care that they're jealous, and they're doing banter, and I'm supposed to side with Chris Hemsworth, but originally I side with the bully, or with the guy you're not supposed to like, because he's the one who cleans up Chris Hemsworth's mess. Chris Hemsworth is sloppy, he's late to every meeting, and the only reason he's getting by is because of something that he did years ago. Does this sound like a likable character?
Well, I mean, I think the whole thing is to set him up as the, like, kind of reckless party boy, just kind of like make him like.
Have you ever liked a character like that in a movie, though? Have you ever been like, I really hope the party boy who doesn't have any responsibilities and only cares about himself makes it out okay?
Well, I mean, I think that was like part of his charm. You know how like sometimes people who are just very charming and good looking, they get away with.
If I was sitting down and I was like, and this was a female lead, and I was like, listen, she did a great job, okay? Don't even question it. Her acting skills are off the chart, and her dress was super low. It was an amazing movie. That's what I feel like your argument is right now.
I know, but that.
Do not. Thor did great. I was very proud of him. Thor, if you're listening, you did good. That's what I'm listening to right now. Okay.
No, but like I just think that's sort of the.
He sleeps with an alien. That's the first thing we see of him. That's the first thing we see of Chris Hemsworth.
Kind of gross.
He sleeps with an alien. An alien woman, I assume, kills her husband for the chance to sleep with him.
So I guess you're gonna put a spoiler alert not to watch
Yes.
this if you
I
listen
not to
if
watch
you
this at all.
no but not to listen if you haven't
Yeah.
seen the movie.
Yeah.
Because the truth is, it was fun. That's what it meant. It was meant to be. It was meant to be fun, and we did have fun. But the whole time I was watching it, I guess I was thinking back to the original one that was like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my God, it was so exciting. It was fun, but it flowed really nice. I bought into the characters.
Yeah.
Um, I did miss the original characters, to be honest.
Me too. Me
It's
too.
kind of hard to replace that, but I just don't think they did a great job with the girl. Not that she didn't do her job, but like I just felt no chemistry
She
whatsoever.
she wasn't fun, and anytime she
No,
was fun, it was very random because she was such a goody two shoes.
yeah, but it wasn't like sometimes the goody two shoes role, they come out of their shell and it's fun to watch. She wasn't. It was so forced, like
Yeah.
I just didn't. And then like at the end when they longingly looked at each, I'm like, I just
Where
did
did
not buy
exactly? But
that.
when the end, when they're longingly look at each other, I was like, wait a second, where the hell did that come from?
Exactly.
They didn't like each other.
Yeah.
They didn't have a moment during this entire movie.
Yeah. And I really missed. They did have. I absolutely loved those creepy guys that were coming from the hive.
Except,
Oh, those were good. I really
okay,
loved them.
except they stole the idea from Rick and Morty.
Yeah, I know you. I know.
It's the cosmic fart or whatever in Rick and Morty. That's exactly what those enemies are,
It
except
really.
Hollywood it up.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. But I have to say, it was pretty
Yeah, but
pretty
I
cool.
can't believe, I mean, I
But
can't
you're
wait
right.
for somebody more popular than me to bring this up and everybody go, oh yeah, wow, that's crazy.
So besides that character, the characters were like, where were the creepy? I love the original Men in Black where um, they had aliens that were like working in the building with them.
Yeah, well, and the one lady we did see that was an alien had time control abilities, and it was used to ogle Chris Hemsworth. She literally could manipulate time and space,
Yeah,
and it was used as a gag for 1 second. And then there was another thing there was another alien that wore glasses. That was his crazy thing.
oh, I know.
And he was telling the female agent, "Hey, look at this painting on the wall. My grandfather was in this. He was the first. He was among the first people to come over. That never comes in handy later. That never paid off.
No, and it's like,
I thought that was going to be the end. I thought this guy was going to be the villain or something, his
yeah,
dad or
yeah.
something crazy. But no, it was just a fun fact. Thanks, movie.
Well, it's about aliens, and I didn't get enough aliens. Like I wanted, I, I don't know. It seemed more about Chris Hemsworth than
Yeah,
aliens.
exactly.
And it's too bad because like what a cast. Liam Neeson, who I
Yeah.
love, Emma Thompson.
Well, that's why I think my review of this, of just, a terrible sequel, because I really think the movie we deserved for an Men in Black reboot, kind of, was Liam Neeson and Chris Hemsworth or something.
Yes.
That's all you had to do, guys. Literally cut and paste the first film's formula and
Yeah.
just do it again to bring in a new audience and stuff.
I would
That's
have
all you had to
loved
do.
that. I would have loved the two of them. And I think they would have played off each other. It would have been that sort of more serious with the younger kind of,
So,
yeah.
so the let me just go through this plot real quick because I have legitimate questions. Okay, legitimate,
Okay.
serious questions that just don't make sense.
Hmm.
Okay, so the female agent, like I said, she lies to Chris Hemsworth to get into this mission that he's on. Chris Hemsworth works alone. Way to ruin the plot, guys, or ruin this nostalgia that he works alone. Because I always thought they had to work in pairs,
Yeah, I
but
thought that was funny.
he's so special he doesn't. Which again is just less fun, because then it makes absolutely no sense why all of a sudden he would, other than to pimp this girl out to his alien friend, which is another awesome point people love to forget. I think you forgot that out. That was literally his plan. Was he knew the female agent was lying about talking this alien's language and stuff, but she told him, hey, whenever the alien's forearms glow, they're reading your mind. And Chris Hemsworth went, really? And again, he's supposed to be this expert in Men in Black who saved the world. So I'm like, what the hell is this?
Right.
He's supposed to be an all-knowing agent, and he doesn't know this about his best friend.
Yeah.
Because the alien is supposed to be like his best friend.
Yeah.
So that was really dumb. Then in comes the cosmic farts that are a blatant rip-off of Rick and Morty. Um, in comes them into this nightclub that they're in, because that's what you want to see. I just didn't think it was special to see these aliens in a nightclub. It wasn't fun to me.
Oh, I did like that.
I think I thought it ruined it for some reason. I thought it took away the mystery that all these aliens were doing was partying and grinding on each other. It really took away the mysterious allure of the alien world.
Right, but I guess if we look at the sequence that we, the progress the movie has made, like, you would think that the aliens, after all these movies, have sort of integrated more, become more comfortable.
But that's not what I want to see. I want to see how awkward they are. I want to see how, there's still criminal aliens that
Well,
they have to track
down. They
down.
weren't creepy.
That's
They
my
were like, yeah,
problem.
and that's why I wanted that too. But I do have to say, I loved those hive aliens. They were really badass. That was amazing.
Well, you just spoiled it.
What?
Plus, they weren't hive aliens.
Oh, they weren't?
No, no.
I thought they were.
No, that's what makes no sense. Okay, hold on. Let me just go
Okay.
through this. So in walks the farts, and they walk through this nightclub, and they start dancing to cause a distraction, assumingly. They're very weirdly dancing. They're doing all this weird stuff. Very visually interesting to watch, but kind of if you start thinking again, you're kind of like, why are they dancing? They flick something at this guy, which I thought was pretty cool to kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, the thing finds its way into the alien's neck that Chris Hemsworth and the girl are supposed to protect, and he goes, "Oh man, I gotta go home." So they start taking him home. I think he's gonna die on his way home, and they've killed him. Okay, the guy starts driving home, and after I thought they did a really clean assassination, the female agent says, "Aren't we supposed to do paperwork and sign off that this guy had to go home?" And Chris Hemsworth, being the jerk that he is, says, "Do you know how much work that is? Do you know how much paperwork and how many forms I have to fill out?" And right after he says that, and keep in mind that the alien is supposed to be his best friend. He should really want to keep him safe and strong and stuff. He lets him go off and says, "Oh no, he's been in worse situations." And then a rocket, or like some sort of projectile, is thrown at this vehicle. The vehicle goes 30 feet in the air, twists, kills everybody except the guy. And my question is, why the hell, if they had access to that sort of thing, they could have just blown the entire nightclub up. What was the point of putting something in his neck so that he could get a tummy ache and need to go home? I mean, that is the stupidest assassination plan that I've ever heard. I mean, think about that.
Yeah, but they wanted something from him. So maybe they didn't want him.
But you blew him up with a rocket launcher at the end anyway.
Yeah.
So if you were going to do that at some point in your plan, I just, okay. Plus, they could manipulate like every object around them. They could have easily killed everybody in that room, easily. But whatever. Again. So of course, Chris Hemsworth has changed, and his alien best friend doesn't trust him anymore, and he trusts the new agent. So the new agent gets this really fancy gun, this really fancy thing that we later find out is a weapon, and he says, "Keep it safe." And then the two of them get in trouble for not keeping the alien safe. The alien has died now. The cosmic farts disappear. Randomly, they just disappear. They give up, pretty much. Even though none of our weapons were hurting them. They still give up, which is weird. Then, I mean, honestly, I can't even tell you what happens after that because all the scenes after that are so random. We go to Chris Hemsworth's girlfriend's house, his ex-girlfriend, who is an arms dealer. That it was Chris Hemsworth's job to track this woman down, get close to her, and take her out or whatever, and arrest her or whatever. Well, in this movie, she's completely doing fine. She's still doing arms deals, which I guess is okay. Whatever. Let's not think about that anymore, I guess. And then, there was a shot where they're in Marrakesh. I mean, they went to a lot of visually fancy,
Yeah.
eye candy places, but for no reason almost. They go to Marrakesh to talk to one guy. Oh, and then the farts earlier went to go talk to a tiny little race of people, and they said, hey, we need a job done. And I assume they were talking to this people to find the alien that they needed to assassinate. What makes no sense is, why would they know now that that guy has the weapon? How did they find that information out? Because they're just random people, pretty much. How did they find that information out? Because they go to the tiny race of people who are like, the size of chess pieces, and they say, we need help killing somebody. And basically they pull a Switzerland and they're like, we don't kill anybody. And then they threaten them and they go, okay, maybe we'll make an exception, which is again supposed to be funny. I didn't find that funny. I thought this tiny race of people was going to be very respected in the galaxy, and that would have been absurd, but it would have made sense in the world of aliens because it's alien to me. But for some reason, they just threaten them with a gun, and I'm like, well, that again ruins the magic of this little alien nobility race. Why were they nobility? So we're going to jump forward to the end now. At the end of the movie, it's revealed that Liam Neeson was part of this hive the entire time and was incognito, an alien, for the entire film and for the entire 2 to 3 years since they defeated it.
It was silly.
Question: why didn't they change over? Now this alien's ability is you can completely mimic the DNA of somebody for years, okay? And it's an identical. You're identical. Why wouldn't now the reason why they left Chris Hemsworth alive was because Liam Neeson wanted a witness. If your ability is to completely mimic the person you inhabit, you don't need a witness because you're that person now. Okay? Not only that, how did the farts find out about that guy in his place? Because later in the film, it's revealed that only people in Men in Black could have known about where that person's location was. So what was the point of the tiny nobility race then? Why did the farts go to them if it was revealed later that they could have only figured it out if there was a mole in Men in Black? And later it's revealed that the mole is Liam Neeson. Except why would Liam Neeson, who's the head of Men in Black, tell these farts to take the weapon away? If he's the head of Men in Black and in charge of the operation that could just take the weapon away. Wasn't the weapon going to be delivered to them anyway?
Yeah, it was
Because
it was all over the place.
Because I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just saying the whole movie was like, okay, it was definitely like a fun movie. This wasn't a serious movie. It was a fun movie, and I enjoyed the experience, but nothing really made sense. It was almost like they just threw a lot of stuff together, and it's too bad because it had so much that could have been good, and that the little noble people, oh, they were like, I love them.
They were very cute, and as soon as our leading heroes find out that this entire race has been killed and there's only one person left, they immediately start making jokes.
Yeah.
which is awful. This race has become extinct, and there is only one of them left. And they started laughing about it and making fun,
Yeah.
which is messed up and unlikable. And so let me just try to figure out this weave of lies. Let's say Liam Neeson contacted these people. At the end of the film, the fart people say, we need this weapon to save our world, which means the Hive needs it. So they're obviously working independently because Liam Neeson takes the weapon at the end of the film and puts it in their safe. Now, what's weird is you could argue that the alien race maybe didn't want this guy to take the weapon because they don't trust Men in Black anymore, which again doesn't make sense because if Liam Neeson has been an evil bug person for how many years and has been in charge of Men in Black, don't you think he'd screw up a lot more missions than just one?
Right.
He had at the end of the film when they take away a weapon, it shows thousands of weapons behind her. Are you telling me that there's only this is the only weapon that the Hive wanted in the entire world, and it took 3 years to find it? Why would... And then I thought, want to know what would be cool? If it was like an Invasion of the Body Snatchers situation. And slowly Liam Neeson has been assimilating all of the other Men in Black agents, except for Chris Hemsworth because he's so stupid and arrogant now. But again, that doesn't really make sense because he would have been Chris Hemsworth would have been the first to be assimilated. But if you have a shape-shifting alien that's trying to take over, why not use your shape-shifting alien powers to take over? What were you doing for 2 to 3 years? And again, I'm giving the film a lot of credit. Let's pretend that it takes 3 years for you to become fully alien, right? Maybe that's it. Maybe to go full evil, it takes 3 years because remember they said from the inside out? Okay, so maybe it started off as bad indigestion, and then and then slowly it took 3 years for him to become a full alien. I mean, I have to make up so many things for this movie to make sense, but it makes no sense how the farts found out about this guy's location and the weapon that he had. Why would they have come to Earth on a mission if they didn't know where this guy was? Because this guy sneakily stole this weapon. Why did he sneakily steal it at that time? How did they know he sneakily stole it? Because it's revealed that the alien race that he's a part of didn't know that he took it. So how would these cosmic farts just get a vibe that he might have taken this really... Hey, I feel like there's a powerful weapon. We should assassinate somebody on a random planet and take it from them. And then the Hive. Something really scary and crazy, completely ruined and not done right. Imagine for a moment if this was a sequel and the first movie was about the Hive. That's all you had to do, and it would have been fantastic. Anyway, I don't see this movie or don't. I hope you've already seen it if you watch this. It is bad. It is bad.
Well, but you have to give a little credit that it's an enjoyable experience. Like it's fun. Like when we went to the movies, we had fun.
I am never going to want to watch it again.
No, I'm never
And
going
want to
to
know
watch
what?
it again.
Remember the alien? And I've watched the Men in Black film over and over again,
I
especially
have too.
when I was a kid.
Yeah, me too.
And I have watched Alien over and over again because they're such good, fun films. Frailty. I've watched that over and over again. It's such a good film. And I will never watch this again.
No, I never will. And perhaps it's because we went together, we were just out. Maybe it's because I snuck ice cream when you were there.
That was amazing. That was so hilarious. That was the funniest thing ever.
But no, like
vegan ice cream. Not even.
Oh yeah, vegan ice cream.
So we do have to wrap up. If anybody can tell me why the farts there was no reason, because if anything, how they found out there was a mole doesn't make sense then.
Mm-hmm.
Because how did the farts find out about this? If Liam Neeson hired these farts, they wouldn't have needed to talk to the tiny people.
Mm-hmm.
I legitimately don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know how I can't get over things sometimes?
This
I
is
have
one of them.
I have woken up several times this week and thought,
Yeah,
maybe
no.
this,
Oh
maybe
my
this
God.
is the reason. And I drive to work and I think, no, 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 that can't be the reason because then it still leaves this question unanswered. What was everybody else doing that came to work that day? Just not thinking? Because I know it's hard for actors because they film the scenes separately,
Right.
so they
And
can't.
sometimes out of sequence.
Yeah, because they can't really figure out, what it is. But I know they read the script, and the script is coherent, right? It's supposed to
Mm-hmm.
be.
Right.
So I just can't imagine that somebody was like, oh, wait a minute. One reviewer I recently watched, they said plot holes don't matter,
Wow.
and they said everybody was watching movies wrong.
Oh.
That was a very arrogant sort of,
Wow.
yeah,
That really is.
If you don't watch them my way, you're
Right.
trying to enjoy them differently. It doesn't matter if it doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Get over it. Is
Right.
essentially what it is.
Exactly.
But then later in this review, he's like, well, the characters can still become stagnant, and like, well, the plot holes add to that,
Mm-hmm.
but whatever. Thank you so much for listening. I I had so much fun going to this with you. Seeing any
I
movie
did.
with you is a really
Exactly.
huge treat.
It's just a nice experience. I really love the theater, and I hope that that continues because sometimes you go and there's not a lot of people there, and I'm like, no, but it could be when we're going to.
Yeah, it's true.
But no, I had a ton of fun. I really did, but it was silly and all over the place, but we had a
Very
good
all
time.
over the place.
Yeah,
Very. Okay. Well,
I know. I feel like this could be a 4-hour thing.
it
Yeah.
could. It really
Yeah.
could. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you had fun. Um, Valkyria Chronicles is a fantastic game. I only played a little bit of it on PC like 6 years ago.
Oh wow.
So to finally play it on the PlayStation is fantastic. It's really nice because my laptop couldn't run the cutscenes at the time. So now I'm actually seeing the game as it was supposed to be.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And it's the first time I've seen an anime style in a more serious, like war setting. Although I know you said it wasn't, but in my experience, my limited experience, I've only seen anime style in more like sort of role play or I've just never seen that kind of setting.
Yeah, yeah. There's actually quite a few Japanese games that focus on war and stuff. It's actually kind of interesting.
Hmm.
Thank you so much for listening. Good night.
Good night.